Okay, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our session on transforming your network into a growth engine, partnerships for for accounting firms. My name is Charles Clark, and I'm thrilled today to be joined by Talila Kroy, who is co-founder of both Emple and emPartner, as well as being a co-host of The Connected Accountant. Welcome, Talila. Love to hear a little bit more about you for the wider audience, if you've because I know you've done more than just what I've covered.
Yes, thank you very much, Charles. I really appreciate being here. It's going to be a fantastic session. Partnerships are not a side hustle for me. They're the thing I've built my whole career around. I built two businesses off the back of partnerships without ever doing paid advertising and with very little marketing. Partnerships have generated 5 million plus for me, starting with what I did with the T&Q events calendar, which was a regional calendar for North Queensland. I partnered with the media, with councils and large corporates to get that publication into the hands of 30,000 homes every year, and that lasted for almost 14 years. When it comes to financial services and professional services, I'm a massive believer in this. One of my first coaches business coaches had partnered with St. George's Bank and created such an incredible result for himself in terms of revenue that he achieved, that I have been again and again impressed by the incredible power of this as a marketing strategy. And looking forward to talking with you about it today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Talila. So just a quick outline of what we're going to cover this session. So by the end of today's session, what we're hoping is that you'll understand how to turn partnerships into a real growth system. So we're not just talking about the sort of odd referral, one-off referrals, but something predictable and repeatable. So we're going to talk about how to structure partnerships properly, how to use them beyond the idea of one-off introductions, and above all, how to make them consistent with the use of systems so they don't depend on sort of someone remembering to follow up. We're going to divide it into two parts. Talila is going to talk about the strategy and the methodology, and I'll show you about the execution and how that works in practice. And we've also got a takeaway for you at the end, which we'll share with you once we get to the last few slides. But before we get into all of that, I thought it would be useful to anchor everyone in the context from that registration pre-work that you all filled out, just to sort of give you some understanding of how your current partner activity compares to the peers who are here today. So the first question was, do you have any active partner or referral relationships? The majority, 61%, have some kind of partner relationship, but it looks to be a little bit informal. 43% have between one and two, but only 18% of you had three or more, and 38% had none at all. So the great thing about today's session is that whatever camp you're in, wherever you're starting from, there's going to be a lot of value here for you today. Now, in terms of who you're partnering with, and this was a multi-select, so don't worry, that obviously adds up to far more than 100. Financial advisors were the most common, followed closely behind by bookkeepers and brokers, and sort of lawyers a little bit behind there. So perhaps no surprise, financial advisors and bookkeepers being so high up, but also interesting to see business coaches and lawyers and some other people in there as well. Now, this is the interesting thing I thought especially was, even for those of you who have a partner relationship, three quarters have actually never done any joint marketing with a partner. So that's for Talila and I, that was really fascinating. And that's precisely the gap that this webinar exists to address and to close. Now, unsurprisingly, when it came to what the biggest blocker is, time was at the top. And that probably is very similar for a lot of accountants when it comes to marketing in general. Time is the blocker. But process, or not having a process, was close behind. Now, interestingly, don't know kind of who to partner with, 16%, and tried it and fizzled, 9%. So that's really interesting. And hopefully for those of you who tried it and it didn't work for, you'll get some insights today and maybe give you some ideas to go back and re-look at it. So in terms of setting the scene, I thought it'd be useful to talk about a quick number from the SMB Navigator report from 2025-26, and that surveyed over 500 Australian small businesses and over 400 accounting firms. And the headline number was that nearly 60% of clients come through referrals. So referrals are always going to be one of your biggest growth channels. But here's the thing, when they look further into the answer, that same research found that only 38% of firms are actually asking their clients for referrals. And 78% of those same clients said they hadn't actually referred their accountant in the past year. So what the outtake of this is that the channel, does work, it can work, but likely it's not been managed. There's no strategy, no tracking, no consistency. So if you are getting growth through this, it's more by possibly accident rather than by design. But Talila is here to unpack how we can address that.
And I'll just add to that, Charles, that that same study found that 69% of business owners found their accountant through word of mouth or referrals. So, 7 out of 10 of your clients are not coming to you for anything you're doing with marketing. The marketing stuff that you put on socials and stuff is going to reinforce their view of you before you come. But the trigger is often other people telling them, go and see this accountant. Yeah, so what is a partnership? This is very, very important because partnership means different things within a firm and between businesses. We're not talking about those commercial arrangements. We're talking about strategic partnerships here, which is where two complementary businesses work together to serve the same client better than either could alone. And it's a triple win situation because not only do you help the client more by providing both facets of a solution, but you're also growing your business and the partner's business. And there are many, many other side effects, flow-on side effects that we'll discuss as well. It's far more than referrals. And that's the key of today's session, really, because we're now going to talk about doing this proactively via marketing partnerships. Another thing to discuss here is why this matters now. Everyone who's looked at the graphs on marketing know that they have the cost of acquisition through marketing has risen every single year and exponentially. I've got a graph on it somewhere. It's just every single year it becomes more expensive. But as well as that, every single year, because clients are being buyers are being inundated with all of this SEO and AI bots and things, they're listening less and less to the marketing. It's simply becoming a noisy channel to the point where it's not worth doing. And when people do get leads from marketing, a lot of times advertised marketing, they're getting tire kickers or people that are very price sensitive. That's not the quality of clients we want, particularly if we're focusing on proactive work and proactive growth, not just compliance. So really the key to the difference between marketing cold and marketing through partners is trust. When someone who already trusts their lawyer or their financial advisor gets told to come and see you, that trust rubs off on you. And that's why all of the stats show the difference in quality of referred leads versus cold leads straight to the market. Anything you'd add to that, Charles?
Yeah, I suppose just to add that, look, while things undoubtedly are getting more saturated and tougher out there, it's not to say that these channels are dead, and they definitely still have their place. I think as Talila mentioned, if you are referred by a third party, so that trust is being transferred, a key sort of part of that buying process or sort of discovery process is that they will go and check out your website, your socials, and if you have nothing on your socials, if your website is just one or two pages and there's no insight, there's no blog, there's no storytelling, there's no sort of personality shining through, that in this day and age of sort of digital native people who've grown up with the internet and social media is a bit of a warning sign. So it just means that all of those channels, maybe weren't as effective as they were 10, 15 years ago. They need to work harder. But equally, the opportunity to do the partner marketing, therefore, as a result, has I suppose, come to the fore.
Yeah, and I would add that some of the greatest minds have always been selling through, not selling to. And even our marketing assets should be used in partnership. And as Charles says, it's a lot about validation and people seeing that you are who you say you are. And that's why you should always keep up all of your online presence and marketing. But when it comes to advertising and the way to reach markets, this is the way. And I think these stats show it very well. For a start, their leads are not created equal. I have a law firm client, for example, who gets a lot of leads through their website, organic channels, ads. Their conversion is under 25%, some cases 5%. Their conversion from referrals is over 75%. You can see, therefore, that the quality of a lead is not the same. As well as that, the partners that come to the clients that come to you tend to be not price sensitive. They're coming to you because someone said you were good. They're coming to you with need already identified, already pre-qualified, trust transferred, and they usually are not looking at the price so much as the outcome and the value. And so you tend to see revenue growth from them. They're usually looking for proactive solutions, and they last longer because they're a better fit and there's a more of a greater connection between the parties. So that's really interesting. Now, partnerships, this is an interesting one. Those, and I think the stats that Charles put up initially bear this out. A lot of us have informal relationships with our partners and they work in that I refer someone because they're good, they refer me because I'm good. But attempts to recreate that are often difficult for people because it's built up through trust over time and overlapping experiences and being adjacent to someone over a period of time. Now, when partnerships underperform, a lot of people go to networking and have a chat and see if they can strike up referral relationships that way. And when they don't put the client first and they're talking instead about how to help each other's businesses without putting the client's need at the center, it doesn't really work because every partnership we have should be based on who does our client need that helps us fulfill that picture. Also, if you go in with no strategy, you'll end up with just good coffee chats and no outcomes. No clear value exchange, same thing. And above all, no systems. Systems is going to be a theme throughout this because systems make things work. And yeah, and really there are a lot of opportunities for most of the firms here. All of those types on the right, at the very least, are types of partners that your clients need at different times. They'll need estate lawyers, commercial lawyers, financial planners. If you don't do it in-house, then having someone that you absolutely trust in your ecosystem is a key to growth and works for your client as well as you. Removes the risk for your client and helps make sure that you are supporting them with their commercial outcomes overall. And I'd say that there would be other partners here, depending if you work in a niche of some kind, that you could also add to this list. Partner activities. One of the keys to a good embedded partnership, or what we call an ecosystem partnership, is that you refer one another regularly when certain scenarios arise, proactively too. But beyond referrals and introductions, there are also joint offers that you can create, joint assets that you can create, and the juicy one we're talking about today, which is partnership marketing. Running initiatives to the market, to your audiences, through both parties. And that's our focus today. And I will also add that when you look at your partners, you'll know there are people that you've known for years and there's people that you hardly know at all. And as trust builds and using a system, you can go from a really reactive approach where someone says, oh, I need a so-and-so, can you please help me, Mr. or Mrs. Accountant or Miss Accountant? And you say, yes, I know one, here they are. To more proactive, where you would be going out and saying, have you covered your estate or have you covered this area? And if so, I know who can help you and why this is of value. That's a more proactive approach. And then there's the highest level, which is where we focus, which is embedded, where these strategic partners are so built into your process that they're like having an extended team, basically, and you're all helping one another. And embedding is the way to go. We'll not focus on that very much, but I will say that marketing partnerships are a great way to build trust and rise through those levels of partnership maturity. So what does a good partnership look like? You want to have the same ideal client. Essentially, you have the same client, but you solve different parts of their problem. You have to have an easier way to refer them and regular opportunities to do so, mutual value to offer that client, and obviously enough regular activity that you can both be supporting one another. In a marketing partnership sense, you have to have value that you can share with the audience or with your listeners, which reflect two sides of the same coin. Think, you're doing a restructure, you'd have the lawyer, and like an asset protection, you'd have the asset protection accountant and the asset protection law firm working together. How do you build a partnership? Usually you start by understanding exactly who your clients need. And from that, who are the most important partners to put into that ecosystem of yours? And what is the value that you offer to your partner's clients? And what is the value that they're going to offer to your clients? You have to have a really strategic and clever chat with them, build up trust over a few stages, which is really quite easy to do, approaching them with clear value and activate to the next step. A lot of chats end in nothing. If you do it properly, they end in immediate action. A first referral and or a marketing partnership activity. And the good thing about marketing partnerships is they're totally in your control. So you can be quite proactive and get started. And marketing partnerships are a really good way to not only expose what you do to the partner's audience and what they do to your audience, but also to awaken your own audience as to other sides of things, supported and with the credibility of another expert at your side, giving them a deep picture of what's going on. And that's why partnership marketing is awesome. There's many different types. I'll throw to you as well, Charles. You can have masterclasses, email campaigns, you can co-create content, lots of different things. And Charles, I think Boma also sets clients up to do that very, very easily.
Yeah, thanks, Talila. So I suppose the key thing we were talking about systems and repeatability, and what we sort of have here, the list, I suppose, 4 or 5 examples of some of the most repeatable ones that you can have. So, when we talk about webinars, so for example, the webinar that Talila and I are co-hosting today is a bit of an example of a partnership webinar. So the audience shows up from both Talila and Boma's database, and the leads are warm, and that sort of trust is conferred before we've even said a word. Email campaigns are fantastic. Now that could be your partner sending out your content to their list, or vice versa, or it could be a joint campaign. So maybe you've created an asset. So it could be a guide or it could be a video. For example, after this webinar, we'll create a video of this that we'll share, and that's definitely an easy example of an asset. And you can share it out to your databases. And obviously, events as well. So we've talked about like a webinar being a live event or online, but don't forget that there are many, many opportunities to host a live event, either you co-host it in a neutral space, or you visit their office, or vice versa, and you connect and contribute to the clients. I suppose the key thing here is that, as Talila talked about earlier, when it comes to the engagement rates, when you are talking engagement around that partnership marketing, it is much, much higher than if it's just a cold email or a cold event. It is coming from a trusted source, whether it's to your database or to their database. And by them basically, I suppose, having lending you their name, their logo, they're also lending you their authority and their relationship to their clients. So that's the nice thing, is that you're not being introduced by a stranger. You're introduced by someone they already believe in. So that's a fundamentally different starting point than if you were, just marketing cold. So in terms of a marketing example in practice, so we talked about having a co-hosted event. So this is one that I'll sort of dip into a couple of times today. So imagine you have a relationship with a financial planner. You're both serving the same sorts of clients, and you pick a topic that sits at the intersection of what you both do. So something like tax planning. Now, in this case, Boma has lots of articles on tax planning, so you could use that as the foundation to build a session around, or at least the sort of the initial outreach. So, I don't know what your partner, how they would promote it, but you can use Boma to promote the event to your client list across your social channels. And then when you run the event, obviously the event that we're running today is recorded because it's through Zoom, but I've seen many people run events where they actually do record those. They have a camera set up at the back of the room or at the side, and they actually record the event as well, just to get some extra mileage out of it. Now, once you've recorded it or you've done it, that's not the end of the opportunity. You need to follow up with the people who attended. So thinking you've got nurture sequences after the event, the opportunity to sort of continue that relationship and maybe go up with a call to action along the lines of, did you, if you found it useful, why don't we come in and have a one-to-one sort of conversation and, talk about your needs. So it sounds like more work than it actually is when you actually have some of the content already prepared and you've got the distribution channels. Probably for a lot of people, it's just around taking that first step, having the sort of the plan, the strategy to execute it, and then you'll find that because you and your partner are experts in the content, actually creating that content for like an hour-long session actually won't be as burdensome as you might think.
Yeah, and I really want to add that compared to other ways, whatever you do, I saw a post recently which is called Choose Your Level of Hard. It's hard to be financially disciplined. It's hard to be poor. Choose your level of hard. I think this is a good way of doing what we need to do, growing our clients, because we get much better clients and we get much more bang for our buck, and it costs us next to nothing. So whether you invest in a digital marketing strategy or anything else, you're going to have to put a little bit of effort into it, networking, whatever. This is really the best leverage return that you can get for your time. Strategy is the key, which is who are you working with? What are you offering to them and their clients? And how are you going to do it and measure it? And we have obviously a tool for that inside of emPartner. I think that fuzziness and vagueness is the enemy of outcomes in any area of life. Once you have precision, you get results. And in this case, again, it always has to be about what's the problem you're aiming to solve for your clients. That will give you the answer to your strategic questions. So when you prepare for a marketing partnership, there are a few steps to take. Firstly, as we said, strategy. What is the problem that you're working to solve? What is the offer that you have? And then what is the value you're offering to clients through this whatever event that you're doing? And then what is the value to your firm and your partner's firm, and what are accurate commercial projections? Using systems and platforms makes it very, very easy to do this and track this and know that you're successful. I can give you a very quick story to that. One business coach I know ran an event with a vet for a vet mastermind. Because the vet was very well known and very successful, and the business coach was also an expert, the vet only had to contact 14 of his clients. He did this by hand and sent out an email. All 14 showed up, and every single one of the 14 purchased, plus 2 people who weren't there because they brought them in. So I'm not going to say that's typical, but what I can say is that results can be outstanding if the 2 experts align on the value to clients and really create something compelling. The trust will do the work to convert pretty well. And I think if you like, Charles, I'll show you how we set this sort of preparation stage up between 2 partners. Can you see my screen okay here?
Yep.
Okay, great. So what you'll see here is I can choose a partner or someone that I'm working with. We'll go with the financial planner to match what we said before. And then I really want to think about what's a topic that I want to cover. And just say, I know that a lot of my clients are not doing tax planning well. So I might write 2027 tax planning and wealth strategies and make that a masterclass. And both of us will present. Right? And what's the problem that this is going to solve for our clients? It's really about business owners don't think about tax until it's too late, for example, and they make poor financial decisions. Get the words right, but essentially it has to cover the problem that both sides are solving. And what are the clients gaining? Better tax, understand the latest tax planning opportunities and how to make sure those decisions support long-term wealth creation. Once you've got clarity on that and really your commercial objectives, you can move to the commercial case. For, as Charles says, there's a lot of reasons to do this. One is to generate new clients from your partner's audience. Another might be to grow existing clients from your own database. So really identify, because later you can track whether it worked, which of these you're aiming for and why, right? Because then you can later measure that that worked. Now, your email list and your LinkedIn network and any other channels that you have should be added in here, because when you're promoting it, and the beauty of it is both parties are going to promote it together. So put those in, and sign-up rates are already calculated in here. They vary by channel. This gives you an ability to project essentially how many people you're going to reach and what's the likelihood that those people will come. And there's a bit of a range from low to high for attendance, for booking, for conversion of those booked to the first step. This gives you an understanding of what the projection calculations could be. And then when you add in as well the solution that you want, the clients who listen to essentially come on board with, could be a strategic tax advisory package, for example. And maybe once clients start with you, they continue for several years, you can start to see what a couple of clients or more would do for you financially over the time period. And you can also do the same for the partner's client. Put in whatever their one is. And then once you've got that clear, and you can do this exercise with your partner, you can work on the date and time, the agreed title, and all the rest of it. And once you've confirmed that, there's a simple way to agree on the final elements. I haven't put that part in, so it's not allowing me to do that. But essentially, what you can then do is measure this whole thing against the results. And at your review session, see how it went and make it better. And with a lot of partners, you can run something like this at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. And if you have, say, 3 or 4 partners like this, you can run an event like this every other month, or even every month, depending on your capability to absorb that. And what does that do for you? It surrounds you with content. It brings all these new ideas out. It makes you a thought leader. It exposes you to new audiences, and it lets your own audience see you from all different angles. And it's very valuable.
Fantastic. So Talila's covered the sort of how you might go about setting up that partnership and the sort of the structure of an event. What I'll just cover now, and you can see my screen, Talila.
Yes.
So what I'll cover now is basically the how you might activate this event in Boma. So you come into your Boma account, and for this example, we're going to look in the library for something around tax planning, and there happens to be an article here. Now, for anyone not familiar with Boma, we provide all the content for email, social media, and a blog post. And the great thing is that it can be customized. And so once I've decided that, yes, this is an article I want to send out, I'm just for time, I've actually created the email first with a little bit of editing. So first up, I'm just going to decide that I'm going to send this to my tax client. So I have gone into the Boma database. I've selected the tag tax client, and so that has said, okay, this is the segment that you're targeting today. So as Talila said, it might be upgrading or growing from your current client base, or it might be going for sort of new clients. In this example, we're going for sort of upgrading that level of spend with your current clients. So if I click into edit the content, and this will be the email. Now, the only changes I've made to this email itself are threefold. So first up, I have slightly edited the title. So it talks about what it's about, and then it also invites them to this planning session. And then just because it's never, it's never enough to invite someone once or tell someone something once, you really need to sort of hammer it home a few times. I've just used the Boma AI to construct two additional sentences or paragraphs and put them into this piece of content. So there's the first one here. So we're going to be meeting John Clark, Financial Planners. The session will be on the 21st of July at 10 a.m. at our offices. Then we get down into the key ways that tax planning can affect the business, how we can help, and again, just then reiterating the fact that we do have this live event. Now, down the bottom, you can see here we've got this call to action. And this call to action button actually links through to a Boma lead capture form. And just for speed, oh, I've got it here. So when the recipient clicks on that button and they say like fantastic, they can go and fill out this form. Now, this form can live in two places. It can live either on a page on your website, so embedded as a native form on your website, or in this case, I've just got it floating on the web. But as soon as they click enter, they'll go through and they can start to go through to the next stage. So the next stage would be to come here and say, okay, now you can see here I filled this out earlier. We've now got a subscriber or a person who's registered for the partnership tax planning event. So fantastic. So when we come now through to sending out a confirmation email, so again, I've created this already in Boma. You can see here that it will go to everyone who has signed up and they've been automatically tagged from that lead capture form. And I come in here to edit the content. And again, here's just a very simple email. Dear John, you're confirmed for our tax planning session, has the details about where it's going to be, when it is, the time, just a few sort of items that they might want to think about ahead of time. And then when you're ready to send, as ever with Boma, it's just a case of confirming. And I'm sorry, I'm just on two screens, so I'll just come down to there. Yep. And then we can send it and save it now. So that's the kind of the activation side of things, as in, so once you have the strategy, around the partnership, who this particular partner will be for this event, and you need to actually activate and get that information out there to your clients, and ideally, your partner can get it out to their clients if it's going to be sort of co-hosted, or if it's just in your case, you're inviting your clients to have the session at your place with the partner. Maybe it's more on your shoulders, but it doesn't have to be a big effort. As I said, a lot of the content will be in Boma. You can customize it, you can edit it, you can capture the leads in Boma, you can send follow-up emails. And what this really does is give you that process and that system that you can repeat. So when Talila talked about maybe running one event a month or one event every other month, it doesn't suddenly become so daunting, because a lot of, on the strategy side, in terms of like who you partner with and what you'll talk about, is handled with the Emple system. But then in terms of the marketing to do system, that's where something like Boma is so handy. Everything is in here in the one system, and you can get out there and start promoting it. So like I'll just change back to the slides.
It's a huge advantage to just have the stuff already there, that you can just take it and change it by 20% or 30%. And because all of the strategic work of thinking about that topic for the writing part is done. And just also all of the platform that you need. So it's all kind of combined. It's very easy. And once you've done it once, it'll become even easier. And I'll also add that we have a tool in here to set up a campaign calendar where you basically have 5 or 6 of these experts, and you do this with them regularly. it's significant six-figure returns, sometimes seven figures that you can achieve.
Cool. Yeah. So as Talia said, once you have a process and system in place and you've got the email automation, that social distribution, you can pop it on your website, you have the ability to capture those leads and then nurture them in the future. All of this suddenly goes from becoming quite a big, daunting prospect to actually something that you can repeat relatively frequently. The nice thing is with a lot of the content in Boma, if it's going to be, say, someone, whether they're the office manager or a third party like a marketing assistant or a sort of a third party marketing assistant sort of outside the firm who aren't an expert in a lot of the topics that you may want to talk about. The nice thing with Boma is that you actually have the beginnings of most of this content in there. So maybe it's just a small case of doing a little bit of customization, but you don't have to rely on someone who isn't necessarily an expert in that, like yourself or another senior partner, to sort of have to do the heavy lifting. So Talila, in terms of actions, what do we think the best things are to get started for those out there who are quite excited about maybe turning their informal referrals into a bit more of an organized partner stream?
Think about what clients you want more of, because that's the event that you should run. So if you want more clients in tax planning, if you want more clients in certain proactive elements that you work in, those are the ones you should build your event around, and think of who already serves clients and who's adjacent to you in that space. So obviously tax planning versus asset protection will be different people. And, this is where you bring in that financial planner, that lawyer, that bookkeeper, that even mortgage broker, whoever it is that can provide the other aspect or the other angle of what your clients need to hear. The beauty of this is 1 + 1 = 3. The clients come and they not only learn from you and learn how you can help them, but they also learn the other questions that surround that. And really think also about what can you offer the client at the end, because at the end of an education or a training, once a client opts in and goes, yeah, this is important to me, I want to know more, they will want to have a consultation, or they will want to be able to book something or take some action that leads to the results that they are after. So sit down with your partner in that first session as well and think about what is the combined solution, offer, next step, etc. The power of selling through rather than to cannot be overstated. And once you do it, you won't go back. It's also fun and exciting to be able to share your knowledge with people, and to do so with other experts chiming in. So yeah, your next action, write down who you want more of. Write down the partner or connection that you know who already serves them, and think about what would be the next step. What can you offer? What value can you offer in the conversation, and what value can you offer afterwards?
Fantastic. And to help you get the most from today, we've actually put together a bit of a playbook. So it's a few pages long, and it's basically a practical guide to the strategy, the systems, and the execution framework that we've talked about in today's session. And we'll send it out along with the recording tomorrow. But also, what we wanted to offer you is a partnership activation session. And Talia, do you want to quickly cover what we'll I suppose what we'll take them through during that session?
Yeah, so by now, hopefully you've got an idea of how this could work for you. We've got an approach to stress test that. So come and talk to us about, what are the clients that you want more of, and we'll assist you with, what could be the good topic for this, what would be a couple of good partners for this, one campaign you could run together. And keep in mind, you don't have to run a masterclass. You might just do EDMs. It might be a podcast. There could be so many different ways that you could do it. You might choose a low stress way to start with, to do it, So one campaign you can run together will help you work out the numbers of what could be, suitable for that, and also what to say to the partner, what to offer at the end, and how to put it into action. Once you've experienced that for yourself, you'll feel a lot more comfortable to continue.
Fantastic. Now, I've quickly put the booking link in the chat today if that's of interest, and we will include the booking link in the follow-up today. Now, in terms of finishing up, because I think we're right on time. Before we do, if anyone has any questions, we'd love to hear them, especially for Talila. I know, hopefully for many of you, it was a great insight into, the whys and hows of how you can turn partnership marketing into a new sort of smart system for growth. Talila, any last points you'd like to add as well?
I mean, I could tell so many stories here, Charles, but I want to give people the chance to ask questions as well. The one thing I'll say is that systems are important, just like zero is important for organizing your numbers, a system is what is the container for your strategy. And just having the right systems will make sure that the vision that you have and the goals that you have are carried out and measured. That's the main thing I'll leave. And I'll also say this, which is that these things are cumulative, like a snowball. So if you and a partner have a good result with this, you'll do it again and again. You'll create more and more assets that'll flow into your socials. It'll appear on your website. Your online presence in the particular niche that you've chosen will grow.
I think like we all know how powerful real user reviews are. If you ever sort of look at an accounting firm and you go to find them on the Google Map, and you'll often see the user reviews and just how powerful those are, especially when people, when they are referred, they will often look at those. And this is just, I suppose, another way for you to bolster that. It's not quite a review, but it's as good as in terms of the assigned trust from other experts in their field. And a
Exactly
quick
right, Charles. That's so spot on. Yeah.
a quick question from John. Does Boma integrate with CRMs like Go High Level? So Boma does integrate through Zapier with quite a few CRMs. I will have to check if Go High Level is one we integrate first with. So John, let me follow up with you after today's session, and I will let you know if there is a specific integration or not. Brilliant. Well, I think we're spot on time. So thank you so much, Talila, for giving us the benefit of your experience today. And also thank you so much for everyone for giving us your time. I hope it was really useful, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Yes, thank you very much.